project what I need to see upon you, and I do believe that everything is meant to be in some form or another, but we don't know enough about this yet. I said we don't know, yeah, we don't know enough, yeah, but don't you forget we learned all we need and we earned everything that we have. And we burned all our bridges, but certainly not taking one back. So I don't know where we're headed, but if it's anywhere far from here, darling, I can't wait to finish what it business for the world. Ooh. Well, I've been riding with my head down low, but I've been sitting with my feet up. Living la vida loca, nice to meet ya, mamacita, hola, venga chica, muy bonita, no más, I could read ya like a Jesus poster, we shall leave now, me, I need to focus. I better stop talking like that. She a big girl dog and I ain't calling her fat. She 20 and she class A like she bought them packs. She says, what you doing, Maze? You was smarter than rap. I said, I don't know, babe, I haven't thought of it yet. I got lots of plans with no time to spend. There's no common sense in my mind to sin. I'm in a lot of shit and I'm not proud of it, but in my defense, I've been honest with you. And that's all you could really ask for. If your glass half full and my glass half poured, ain't a rewind button, living life and fast forward. Oh Lord. Every time I lay my eyes on you, I project what I need to see upon you, and I do believe that everything is meant to be in some form or another, but we don't know enough about this yet. I said we don't know, yeah, we don't know enough, yeah, I said we don't know, yeah, we don't know enough. Whoa, hold on for me. Hold on for me. I don't know how this happened. I'm falling backwards quite comfortably. Numb and then suddenly I just wanna be right next to your mattress. My belt is unfastened. I'm young and I'm free and dumb.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream here. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. I will be checking out YM, the Black Sheep. Been having some good days on YM. Make sure you go ahead and read this disclaimer. It's in the description of this video. It's posted all over. This is my site. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say or do here is financial advice or recommendation or suggestion to do anything. I'm just an idiot on YouTube. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. If you decide to trade, you'll probably lose all or more of the money that you trade with. You should also read CFTC Rule 4.41, which is about trading in sim environments, which is what prop accounts are. We'll be talking about YM today, the Dow Jones Future. I got the mini chart pulled up. This is the combine that I was trading this morning. Really been working on XFAs. If you've been following along, you guys know that. But I've got a couple combines getting set to rebill. Probably not going to let these ones rebill, so I'll either pass or fail them. I'll have some 50Ks, additional 50Ks on backup, and I will move into the 150Ks eventually. That's the game plan. But this one I got to trade. It's rebilling on Friday, Monday rather, and it's halfway to passing. Pressed it a little bit this morning, as you can see. I will talk about some of the trades that I took on Dow this morning. This was attempt number 1. I actually took a morning short right up here. This was really long attempt number 2. I'm going to mark both of these. This was entry number 3 that actually played. And then I just got short from up here, but I closed it. Getting warmed up. Again, getting comfortable. This was a 2 contract short that would have paid beautifully. But I closed it for a quick $50. Figured I would just set myself up, ready to pass this thing in one day. This is $1,500 in profit or so. Ready to pass this thing in a day, so I'll be able to press it tomorrow and go from there. Just make sure we got, this thing looks good. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, again, this is these are not the exact trades. Didn't have time to go back in into actual trades and mark them all up, but been just running this as a wider chart. I had some stuff in between here that were small losses. This one, I'll get rid of this for a second. This one I literally bottom ticked it, guys. I could post the trade report if you guys think I'm full of shit, but you know, I'm talking about $700 in a combine here. I think I actually ran a stop loss below here to start, and I was targeting a big move to the upside. Limit order as we were coming down to VWAP. Big sell-off, push back up. This looked like we were going to continue to move. Pull back down to VWAP. I love this move on Dow. Took this thing long. I held on to this, ended up getting stopped out at break even as we started to come back down. Literally bottom ticked it on the way up. You could see this candle right here. It moved into profit. This showed me like $450 worth of profit, something like that in the mini. I held it all the way back down to get stopped at break even. The second entry, get rid of this. The second entry was, I watched it come back down, and again, very aggressively decided, you know what? If I have a shot to take this thing long, it's here. If we're going to come all the way back down and move to the downside or just chop around, I'll take the loss. Again, I'm pressing this account. Entry was somewhere down here on this wick to the downside. Can't remember if I had a stop all the way below initially or all the way up here. That one was beautiful. I didn't hold all the way to up here. The exit was right around these highs. This ended up being about $600 something worth of profit after a small back and forth, 50 something dollars, $100 showing. This one up here, so this worked out well. Holding to this spot, which I was looking for maybe up here, just this, you know, area of interest, support resistance, order block, whatever you want to call this area right here. Also lining up with some objective levels I'll show you guys. This one worked out really nicely. Again, close was right about here. Buying off of this support being found at VWAP. Liked this wick below and then immediately started to react. Got in very aggressively down here. That one paid. This bad boy, this was $50. $50 winner. Let's get the exact entry up. There you go. $595 on that one that was to the upside. This was at 52 shorting right here, just right before I was getting ready to hop on here. Entry at 75. Boom. Short stop loss was back up here somewhere. Maybe it was just right above the highs. It was about $150 worth of risk, which would be 15. That would have worked out perfectly. Just wasn't comfortable taking this one. Again, getting comfortable on YM. Really like to take these aggressive entries. I think we're finding resistance here. Yes, we're bullish on the day, but I'm looking at this as a rotation back in. Cut this thing very short. As you can see, $50, closed at 5 points in profit for a whole lot of nothing. That one would have played very nicely. So part of, you know, making a small change on instruments, although I have more experience on Dow, on YM here than I do anything else, I'm cautious, right? I'm not just going to jump in and start trading XFAs super duper aggressively. You know, you want to get some work in, kind of ease your way in, warm up, and that's what I've been doing here on this combine. You know, pretty aggressive. Again, I got tomorrow and Friday to pass this thing. Otherwise, it's, you know, it's dead. So when you get yourself into those situations, for better or for worse, you have to, you really have to press your trades. So that was my morning. No XFAs, just back and forth on the combine. Make sure this looks good. Yeah, back and forth in the combine, ending in profit. Again, put myself in a position where I can pass this in a day tomorrow. Have some additional 50Ks on backup. Again, my goal is to trade the XFAs that I have, move into 150Ks. I took this slow and steady approach with the 50K XFAs that I have. Try not to lose any of them, not to trade them too aggressively, go for these huge payouts. Just take small stuff, you know, try to demonstrate to myself that you could do it on a small scale, and to everybody else for that matter, before getting really aggressive with it, right? It's the logical way to do things in trading, in life, and in business. Just going to show you guys where some of these levels are coming from. If you have been following along, you're in my community, you know I like prior day high and low, and you know I like overnight high and low. I'm going to show you that these discretionary levels line up with those areas on my chart. But I have come back to really, really clean charts, or what I find are clean charts for me. There's your changeover. Here would be my overnight high, right? So as you can see, guys, get rid of this. The discretionary levels that I have marked up, they're really lining up with the overnight highs and lows and prior day highs and lows, right? I got a couple additional ones on there, again, just based off of tops and bottoms, right? Support and resistance zones, supply and demand, order blocks, whatever fancy name you want to call them. I'm going to call them areas of interest, horizontal levels. This way, nobody can yell at me. And if you do yell at me, so be it. How am I finding these? Really clean areas that have been tested multiple times with big impulsive moves. That's what I'm looking for. Tops and bottoms, stuff that's been tested, and then big reactions have formed off of it. It's discretionary, right? You might say, no, Zach, that zone belongs down here. Okay, no problem. I don't think that, I used to antagonize that stuff, really spend a lot of time having this super duper objective way of exactly at this wick high to the body and the basing candle and, all these different ways of doing it. If you have a very structured way to do it, that's fine for me. Utilizing those objective levels, probably paying attention, getting some zones around there, along with some discretionary levels above and below. Again, coming off of tops and bottoms, right? Tested right here as resistance. We did blow through it there. So you might say, nope, zone invalidated. For me, I say, look, we tested as support multiple times. That's an area that I want on my chart. You can see how that played out today. This area I had on my chart right here, you can see how that bad boy played out today with this wick right here, that first target right there. Where's that coming from? Again, some objective stuff, but you can see these levels tested really, really clearly. This one right here is really the most unclear. I don't really love that as a zone. This bad boy, you could say the same, but again, tested multiple times here in between as resistance. Am I using these for end all be all? No. I'm going to utilize price action. I'm going to utilize market structure. These are some areas to pay attention to on my 5-minute chart. I do like to enter more aggressively on the 5-minute chart. Again, this is hard to quantify. The way that I've been trading ES, much more zoomed in. I'm waiting for small breaks and retests. I'm using price action or structure on the 100-tick chart to move with that direction. For YM here, I'm saying, okay, we got structure forming to the upside. I like this for an upside move. I'm going to fade the short-term trend. I'm going to buy as we're coming down in favor of the long-term trend. So you could say you're trading with the trend. You might say, no, Zach, you're buying as that 5-minute candle came down here, your counter trend, however you want to describe it. But that's essentially the basis of the way that I custom tailor a little bit to YM. I'm more aggressive on the entry at or near an extension, the top or bottom of a level with the trend, or maybe even counter trend, the way that I'll go with ES sometimes. But discretionary, simple, market structure, price action, utilizing volume, VWAP, traditional volume down here. Edgeful for some stats to help me out to form that discretionary trading bias. And the cheat code over in the corner, Bookmap. If you guys don't know, I'm partnered with Bookmap. I'm also partnered with Edgeful. Full disclaimer there. Bookflow is my favorite order flow software. Really helps me out with levels of liquidity. Important areas to be paying attention to. If I'm going to be trading, to and from in between these zones, these trends, I want to know if we got huge stacks of orders on the book. This stuff is all algorithmic liquidity providers, these liquidity bands, they call them. They come on and off the chart. This is really not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, let's see if I can find something earlier today. That's a lot of back and forth. That's what I'm looking for right there. A big stack of liquidity, big orders on the book. You can see what happened when we got there. Big reaction. You can see this bad boy came on the book right here. These levels seem to act like magnets for price. Price is attracted to liquidity, likes to go there, fill, sometimes react, sometimes push through. I will fade them sometimes. I will utilize them with the trend to trade through them sometimes. Just depends on market structure and price action, which I'm using primarily in my trading. But Bookmap's awesome. Links in the description. Links all over the place. I'll actually throw the link in chat. I don't have the link up, so you'll have to wait on that one. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. Link in chat for Bookmap. Boom. Edgeful, which I will talk about in a little bit. We'll see if anything is setting up for us. And the free Discord link I don't have up either. That's okay. Link in the description. So that's what I'm seeing on Bookmap. Nothing crazy right now. Again, no huge level sticking out at me above or below price. Just this liquidity, this algorithmic liquidity bands that I really don't pay attention to. They kind of track above and below price. I want to see that big order sticking out on the chart. So for right now, let's zoom out and get a little bit higher time frame on this. Kind of choppy, right? Kind of choppy here on YM. Similar on NASDAQ and ES, but a little bit different. We got this big high put up here, 43,000. Sold off. We put a bunch of lows in. We put a bunch of highs in. I'm looking at this as somewhat of an area of consolidation, although we have gotten above it here, right there. We keep putting these lows in, cracking back up, and we've kind of just been trading back and forth across this range. Today looked like we might make a run first to the downside, right? We opened up here at 930. Let me to make you guys dizzy here. We opened up here at 930, very bearish, came down, just tested these lows, and then this was looking bullish, right? That's why I was pressing those longs. Buying down here off of VWAP, pushing to the upside. Very simple, very, very simple market structure, price action, utilizing volume trade. As we pushed up here, I thought, man, I did clip that one early. We pulled back down here. I was actually tempted to take another buy here, but I figured, you know what? I'm not going to press this to the upside again. I'm cool with this profit. I don't know that I need to take it. The short up here was really because we didn't blast through. We had a chance to, and I was looking at rotation back down. I read that one right, and, here we are. We didn't just continue to absolutely blast off to the upside. Back down around the highs, this level of structure. It's been tested a handful of times. And really just not continuing this move up to the upside. So Dow has been really back and forth. Quite a bit of movement, right? You can see even from yesterday, quite a bit of movement. There's opportunity in between all these ranges, but getting caught in the middle of it is dangerous, right? Getting caught in the middle of all this can be really dangerous. It can be very, very choppy, big price action back and forth, right? Like we were going to continue higher here, but not before 120 points to the downside. So right now in Dow, this is not really a setup. We are at a zone with VWAP down below. I'd like to see if we come down and test this level again, if we come and check these lows out. What happens when we get down here? Do we start to bounce? Maybe we get something to the upside. We start to really break through and look like we're just going to trend lower. Maybe we are looking to the downside. Let's check out ES. Here is our 930 open. Again, no markings on the chart, just looking at this session. Similar structure, a little bit more bullish, obviously, until now that we're kind of rotating back down. Bearish on the open, big push back up. A little bit of resistance at VWAP, crack above, push up, test of VWAP again, and then continuation. But we're really failing to take this thing higher. Jump into the 15-minute. Really failing to come all the way back up, right? Staying below that 5,800 level. This is looking somewhat bearish, guys. Like bulls are failing to take this thing higher. If I look at this on a 30-minute more zoomed out, you can see where we're at on the higher time frame. This is feeling like a sideways price action. Consolidation, choppiness, and actually a trail to the downside, right? I'm not a trend line guy, but I like to, I'll use an arrow. That's the push to the upside. Here we go back and forth, start to sell off. Kind of feeling like that right now, right? We've been pushing up since the beginning of September. Coming into October, we're starting to break this trend line to the upside here. Starting to move sideways and kind of start a trail to the downside. I was looking to see if we were going to run higher. I mean, I was aggressive on that last short that I was looking at on Dow, but this thing's feeling weak. I'm not going to make long-term predictions. I don't think that stuff is helpful for me. Let's look at NASDAQ. Let's get rid of, actually, we can just go ahead and use this one. Where was our October 2nd? Oh, there we go. I'm on the 30-minute chart. That's why. There's our open. Very similar structure to ES here. Push down at the open, crack back up. Again, some resistance around VWAP and a continuation to the upside. NASDAQ overall, let's jump out to the hourly, get even more zoomed out. You can see what this structure looks like. A little bit different than ES, right? If we get way, way, way zoomed out. But this trend from September 6th that we're looking at, right? Following this nice trend line, that started to break here. We started to crack below it. Looked like maybe we were just going to turn and continue this move. Big sell-off yesterday. You know, we got a lot of conflict going on. War in the Middle East, election year, hurricanes going on. You know, just a lot, man. A lot of pressure that can create uncertainty in the markets. The message that I sent to Discord this morning was, be cautious of illiquid markets, right? Low volatility, low volume, and then rapid increases in volatility and volume. I heard the Top Step guys say it a lot, and I agree. It's a headline market. It's what they call a headline market, where the market's rapidly reacting to headline news that's coming out. Kind of like a red folder news event, but we don't know that Jerome Powell is speaking at 2 p.m. We don't know that, you know, there's going to be an attack launched in the Middle East. As that happens, the market has the, you know, potential to react violently, very, very quickly on that type of developing, you know, event, you know, that developing conflict. So what can you do? Be cautious. Be aware that that's going on. Recognize we got potential for big moves to the upside, big moves to the downside. We got potential for low liquidity, low volume, consolidation, and structure your risk. Focus on your risk management. What are you risking per trade? What are you risking per day? Fully accept that risk. And, you know, the violent movements that come in the market, be aware. Slippage is a real thing. You know, if you have limit orders set, stop orders set, your fills may be off. You know, that's part of trading, you know, through headline markets. So that's kind of my thoughts on the market. Again, if you're waiting for me to say, I think we're going to head down to a certain level or up to a certain level on a higher time frame, you know, you could just tune into CNBC and listen to those guys make those guesses like weathermen. I don't think it's helpful. I try not to form a really strong bias coming into the market. I like to be aware of where we're at, right? Zoomed out, you know, maybe on the 15-minute and the 30-minute, even on the 5, you get a good idea. What happened the last few days, get some zones marked on the chart, right? This is a lot when you see me zoom out here. Are we selling off? Are we pushing up the downside? Are we really back and forth? Get a feel for what's going on, and then let the market show you what it's going to do that day, right? We're going to sell off to the downside. I'm looking short. We are going to find some support and start cracking to the upside, you know, above VWAP. I'm looking long. You know, go for those intraday moves. So for right now, man, I'm looking to see. Here was trend breaking to the downside. Again, I'm not a big trend line guy. I can use a anchored VWAP. I'd actually prefer that. Let's see what that would look like. Low of day, anchored VWAP. Is that the low of day? No, that is the low of day. Get rid of that 930 line. Testing that low of day anchor VWAP. Maybe we come down and test this VWAP. So long as we stay above all this, I'm still looking long. But I do recognize here was the trend to the upside, right? Really strong, nice breaks and retests. This is a really clean trend line to trade off of that I'm just using to display it to you guys. Here's the continuation, you know, pull back down and continue to the upside. We didn't do that. We started to sell off, right? In this slower drift down to the downside. Do we find some support down here and start to push off? Maybe. If we continue this slow chop down and we start accepting lower prices, I might look short. I would be more inclined to look short back down into this range towards the low of the session. So somewhat of a pivotal point coming up. This was a cheap short that would have paid really nicely that I entered and closed for a $50 profit. But again, getting comfortable on YM again, so I'm not challenging myself to do anything crazy. Go coming down to VWAP again, man. You know, these lows are kind of first line in the sand, these 5-minute lows, but we are breaking this low of day anchored VWAP to the downside. Get rid of that for now since I'm keeping my chart very clean. We'll see what happens down around session VWAP here on the 5-minute. Really aggressive trade would be a buy now. You know, again, that's how I was playing these right off of VWAP. You can go down below those lows, something like that, targeting a move all the way back up. There's opportunity right there for you guys. Again, anticipating bullish move on the day, selling off structure, and then continuing up. This, for me, a little bit aggressive, right? I would have liked, a really aggressive wick down and then a continuation to the upside. Now we started to trail off. I'm going to wait for some structure. I'm going to wait to see what happens down here. Do we chop around, find support, and then start to move to the upside? Maybe I look for something like that in the afternoon. The morning, with this volatility, this movement, I'm jumping right in. I know I'm not going to get an opportunity for that. You can see it here, right? Where is that opportunity? I'm entering up here or up here? No. You got to be pretty aggressive on it. Afternoon, it's much slower, choppier. So I don't trust this yet. If anything, I think we may break to the downside. So if I don't have clear direction, I don't have a clear indication of a good way to get a good way to structure risk, right? Because you can go stop losses down below the lows. Nice clean invalidation point, maybe even a wider stop like that. We come all the way down here. I think we're much more likely to continue lower. We're not going to find support here and push to the upside. But I don't have clear direction on this. It's a cheap trade. You could run it really tight if you wanted to. Anticipate a bounce just like that. But I am not in this one. Just measuring out the first opportunity that I see. So I'll hang with you guys, see if something sets up, see if something makes sense. Like I talked about in Discord, I am going to not just take trades on the lives. I liked to get some trading in. I was really challenging myself to zoom in on ES, to zoom in on on everything that I'm trading, be able to generate a higher frequency of trades, and the market just doesn't work that way. I wish it does. You can just hop on any hour of the day and find 3 good trades. For me, really doesn't work that way. If you're super duper scalping, sure, you got trades all over the place. And more credit to those guys. But for me, the morning I get a lot of setups. Into the afternoon, into power hour, I do have good trades that come on. But there's days where there's just not anything right. It's not setting up for me. I don't have my entry criteria. So I'm not going to force trades on those times just for the sake of forcing it. I'll end up with no trade sessions. I'll come on here. I'll review the morning, talk about my trading, give you guys my strategy, my approach, my understanding, how I'm approaching these markets, answer questions. And if there's trade setups, I'll take them. So I'll repeat that a couple times. If you guys got questions, feel free, ask in the chat. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you hopping on. Make sure VWAP's in the right area, but on NASDAQ, yeah, right down to VWAP again. Let's see where we go from here. I think a crack back up to these highs is definitely likely. These lows on the 5-minute, right? If we were looking at a little support resistance zone, maybe we just need to kind of crack back up here, up to here, and we're going to continue lower. But I'm not sold on anything just yet. We'll watch the 5. We'll see what the black sheep has for us. Dow, which is always in its own world. Just checking out Bookmap over to the side, see if we get anything that pops up that really would help me out one way or the other. But not too much just yet. So again, man, you guys got questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to hang for a while on here. I like trading this mid-afternoon time frame, although it is New York lunch, kind of zombie hour. We start to come out of it around 1 o'clock, and I find trades develop. I like power hour. It's a lot of volatility, but it's a short time frame to trade. Like, you get 1 hour, last hour of the day, and at 3:50, you're likely to have some volatility. You have to decide whether or not you want to hold into market on close, data that prints and typically affects the U.S. indices. So there's a lot of pressure in a short amount of time to find a trade, put one on, and get something moving. So took a couple trades on Top Step TV yesterday. Ended up being L's on the XFA. Good trades. I liked them, but just didn't plan out. Didn't play out. That's part of trading. If I could come on and say everyone's going to be a winner, I would be a fortune teller, be able to foresee the future. But I'll show you a stat from Edgeful that I spoke about yesterday on Top Step TV, and I was really trading against, and it didn't work out so well for me. Here is this is Edgeful. Full disclaimer, I'm a partner with Edgeful. Link in the bio, link in the description, link in the chat to try this out for free. A whole bunch of different reports. They give you stats. They explain what it is. Can be super duper helpful. Kind of the stuff that you look for in back testing, that you would hire somebody to do an enormous amount of statistical research on. But I'm going to talk about this one right here because, again, I was paying attention to it. I didn't utilize it in the trade that I was taking, although I wasn't trading for a new high of day. I was trading against this direction, and it didn't play nice with me. It rotated back in. This is called the Power Hour Breakout Report. This is on YM over the last year of data for NYSE session. And what this is measuring is from 3 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern, which is referred to, slang term, is power hour, last hour of NYSE session. That's what I was trading yesterday on Top Step TV. What percent of the time is a new high of day made or a new low of day made in the last hour of the trading session? Only 25% of the time, a little over 25% of the time, over the last 1 year of data, did Dow put a new high of day in the last hour of trading. And only 14% of the time did it put a new low of day in. How can you utilize this? How is there a real practical way to utilize this in your trading? Well, this is yesterday. This is Sorry. 4 p.m. This is 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. If I know the stat is only 25% of the days, over 25% of the time, we're putting a new high of day in. And almost 75% of the time, we are not coming up to put a fresh high in. Do I really want to be trading for a new high of day within this hour? Probably not. Now, for me, in the long trades that I took over here, if you watched on Top Step, you'll see me take the L's. The long trades I took on here, I was looking at this as, again, this is new chart markup for the day, but I was looking at this as bullish structure, right? Pushing up, higher lows getting put in. We cracked to the upside. We sold off a little bit. I was looking at support down here. I can't remember exactly where these trades are. I think I had one from up here and then one from over here after this wick to the downside, and I ended up getting stopped right here. I was looking at this as support being found around this area, buyer stepping in to bring this thing higher. I wasn't even targeting a new high of day, which is what made me okay taking this trade against this report. But this can help you form a really nice bias, man. Oftentimes, the new high of day, the new low of day is not getting put in right at the end of session, even if it's a trend day. It often rotates back into the zone, kind of just chops around or comes back into that trading range. And that's what we saw yesterday, all the way back down to VWAP, near the VWAP at the end of the session. So Edgeful, there's a ton of different reports on here. Again, I've talked about some of them. For Power Hour, I'm paying attention to that one. I also like to pay attention to the gap fill report. Very, very interesting one. Initial balance breakout. How often does YM break one side of the opening range, the 1 hour opening range, and not come back down and break the other side? Strong stat right here, guys. 71% of the time. 1 hour opening range. What's the top? What's the bottom? If it comes up and breaks the top, the rest of NYSE session, only 25% of the time is it coming back down to break the other side. Can help form some bias and give you some direction for the day. Opening candle continuation, really, really interesting one. Opening range breakout. Not using this one so much on Dow. On ES, it was much stronger. I can show you that. The 15-minute opening range, oftentimes in ES, is broken to the upside and downside. The 9:30 a.m. to 9:45 a.m., high and low. 70% of the time throughout the trading day, ES is going to break both sides of those. 70% of the time. So if you're bullish, you're above VWAP, you push up at the open, you set that range, you come down, find some support, crack that 15-minute opening range low, that high is a really nice target to trade towards. You know, again, using these in conjunction with whatever other tools you use. price action, market structure, volume, whatever indicators you like. I think this type of statistic is important to know about. Even if you're not going to use something specifically, I think the power hour breakout's a really good example. Be aware of that. A new low of day is oftentimes not getting put in, far more often than not. Price is just rotating back into that range. So, interesting one. Again, me trading against it yesterday. That's interesting. Finding a little bit of support here down at VWAP. Yeah, really aggressive long play from down here. I just, again, guys, I'm going to say that this is more discretion and intuition than something that I can really quantify. But structure-wise, I just don't like the way we've rotated back down in. If we were going to continue higher, I really would have liked to see that continue to happen. Even if we needed to come all the way back down here and find some support before continuing to the upside, I would have liked to see that start to happen already. All the way back down to VWAP. Yes, we're stalling here after a nice big push down, but we're really not rejecting harshly. We don't have a lot of buyers stepping into the upside. By the time we get that, if I wait for that type of confirmation on YM, we're way the hell back up here. And now I really don't have a great way to structure risk. So it's an aggressive entry. That's my option with a stop loss way down below these. Anticipating if we come all the way down lower, we're more likely to come back down and check these lows out. So I'm going to wait to see what happens here, but I just don't have a lot of direction in this market. I like this. This was clean, I liked this to the downside really aggressively. Maybe stop loss to break even and trying to trail that thing down over here. Maybe even here if I wasn't going to just paper hand out of it really quickly like I did. Again, aggressively counter trend. That was another piece of that, me not wanting to hold on to it. But now that we've done this, do we just form this type of structure? Is that where we go from here? Or do we start to chop around? Do we start to break below, crack these lows, come back up, and, kind of just form that tough market structure? I don't know. And, my gut tells me that the chart tells me by the time I do know that, the move's already happened, right? We're within this big range set so far for the session, all the way back down to the dead set middle of it. Not really the way that I like to trade. Not the area I like to trade from. In the morning, we got big movement back and forth to the upside and downside. Yeah, I'll take trades off of VWAP in the middle on big volume, big momentum. Now on this, I don't have anything just yet. So let's see if buyers or sellers step in. Let's see if we get an uptick in volume. We get some volume being traded, and maybe we do look for something. But right now, no momentum, just slow trickling price action. Not a whole lot. So, like I said, no forcing trades. We'll let the market set up and come to us. Dang, you guys are quiet today. No questions. All right. We'll hang out. If you got questions, trading questions, feel free. Ask in the chat. Check Bookmap. Yeah, not a whole lot on Bookmap. Just this algorithmic liquidity. Again, zooming out, showing you guys, what I look for on the chart. This type of action right here. Big, clear levels of liquidity that are on the book, not this back and forth algorithmic crap that pops up and down below price. Big orders that come on the book, stay on the book. It's real heavy right there. And then confirmed as price comes into it and fills, big reactions, sometimes, crushing through it, sometimes reacting off of it, but areas of interest, big areas of interest that I want to pay attention to. There's another example right there. Came in right above that high. You really right at that high, maybe right above, and stayed on. So nothing crazy on Bookmap right now that I'm looking at. Again, I run it pretty zoomed out. I look for those really, really obvious levels to come on. That's the way I utilize the DOM, the depth of market. Got a little bit up here that you could see, right? There you go. Ooh. Ooh. I didn't zoom out enough. $42.3. We got some orders. Let's look at what that looks like on the candlestick chart. That's a nice order. Right? Came on right at 1 o'clock and has stayed on the book. Quite a bit of volume there. Quite a bit of not volume. Quite a bit of resting orders. Right at that nice round number right here. Right at the lows. Let's throw it on at exactly when it came on. Boom, right there. Interesting. See what happens there. Could be a level to trade towards, or at least be cautious of if we start to come down lower. But we'll hang out, see if we get a setup, man. Again, you guys got trading questions, feel free, ask in the chat. Quiet on a Wednesday with all the hectic stuff going on in the world. I usually don't check like just general news sites, like financial news sites throughout the day, but I've done it a handful of times today. After yesterday, I think it's important to just have an idea. Something developing. There's crazy, crazy attacks and war in the Middle East. Oil being affected, strikes going on, a hurricane going on. I got to know about that. Usually not going to know about it quick enough to react to the upside or downside. That's not the goal, but to be aware. Are we in for some wild volatility coming up? Might want to be aware of that. Here's how CNBC describes it. S&P 500 is little changed as shaky October start continues on escalating Middle East tensions. Live updates. Little change today. Shaky October. That's fair. That's fair. Again, just checking some news, guys. See where we're at. Yeah, nothing crazy, man. Nothing crazy from the Mag 7. Not too much across all of these. We're pretty much flat. I'm thinking mostly chop for the day. That's an interesting level to pay attention to. Again, on the chart, just looking from a technical analyst standpoint. I'd be looking at potentially a move down to these lows now that I know that's levels down here, but more than anything, maybe support back up to the upside, maybe a move down, maybe chop, maybe means no trade for me. So I'll hang out with you guys for a little bit. We'll see if something develops here over the next 10 or so minutes. If you guys got questions, feel free, ask away. Slow middle of the day session. There is volatility in power hour, volatility in the morning. The rest of the day, I don't find like 11 to 12 or 2 to 3 to be better than the middle of the day. I actually find coming out of NYSE lunch, right, like that 12 to 1. A lot of times you do start to get movement. Guys come back to their desk, they see what's up. The algos kind of back off, and you start to get some movement in the markets. Not that I need to describe it that way. Who cares? But price starts to move on the chart. We can keep it really raw. But not today. Choppy, slow moving, down around VWAP. What's up, man? Why did you switch from ES to YM? I trade and like both. Yeah, good question. I described that a little bit in the morning. ES, I was getting really zoomed in, not forcing trades on live, but trying to get a higher frequency of trades. I've originally, when I first started trading CFDs in the future Forex prop firm world, started on US 30, which is YM in the futures world. I really did like that. When I came over to futures, I started with NASDAQ a little bit. I traded NAS 100 as well, I should say that. But I started with NASDAQ and YM. I was enticed by ES originally based purely on a risk standpoint. NASDAQ minis were too aggressive for me to trade in the 50K combine. And at the time, I couldn't trade micros with the same purchasing power. So I made the switch to ES from primarily NASDAQ and YM because it was just lower ability to be more flexible on risk, to size down essentially, trading one mini. When TopStep changed to allow you the same purchasing power in micros, I know this is a long-winded explanation, but this is the whole story. I stayed on ES because I got comfortable on ES. I liked the way that it was slow moving. I could trade the 1 minute, the 100 tick chart, really start to zoom in. Worked pretty well for me. Now that purchasing power is changed across all of them and ES is really kind of just not working with me so well, at least over the last few weeks, and that I'm making a change to not try to trade so much on live and just do what works best for me and my trading, coming back to YM feels like a natural choice. I'm still watching NASDAQ. I'm still watching ES every morning, every day as I'm trading, but I'm primarily focusing on YM. I've been doing a lot of back testing, getting a lot more comfortable, the levels that I want to watch, the way I want to mark my chart. It fits my style a little bit more. I don't get as many trade entries, right? I don't get, especially on the 5-minute chart, I don't get as many, as high of a frequency of trades. So I don't love it as much for stuff like this, live trading, right? But the scalping thing, really zooming in, pressing it on ES, I don't know that it fits my personality, my style, really my strong suit, as well as trading YM on the 5-minute chart. So for those reasons, jump back to Dow, to YM. Again, probably not permanent. Still a US indice, still fairly close, right? It's not like going to trading a Forex pair or trading platinum or something. I would say NASDAQ and ES are both very close structure and price action wise. Dow is kind of in its own world, but this was my OG. It's where I started in the US indices, and it can be a monster, kind of like NASDAQ, but I got a lot of experience on it. I got comfortable with the way that it moves. I like the entry style that I can utilize on Dow. And again, just not as high a frequency of trades as I'd like for live trading, but I have to ask myself in my trading, am I doing something that is just going to generate a lot of trades and is not going to generate the best P&L, or is this the best thing for me in my trading? And, that's kind of what I've had to come back to. Again, started this live trading thing really February of this year. So it's been an interesting dynamic to figure out how I want to do stuff, the way that I want to trade and be able to display my trading and try to make it beneficial for you guys that are watching. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what's best for you, what's best for your trading, what's best for your results. And coming into this weekend, that's kind of what my review was. And after a lot of back testing, thought on it, Dow, YM. That's the thought process there, man. I know that was a long-winded answer, but it's I think it's good to just get the full transparency to understand. It was Dow and NASDAQ from the beginning in CFDs as US 30 and NAS 100. Came to NQ and YM in the futures market. If you go back and watch my videos, that's what I'm trading first. I moved to ES specifically for risk, not because I wanted to trade ES over NASDAQ and YM. And then I stayed on ES because I spent so much damn time on it getting comfortable that I thought, all right, TopStep made this change. I'm already here. Let me just focus up. I want to be a specialist really on one instrument, which is why you're seeing me focus on Dow now. And, I stuck with that, gave it the time, decent results, but not exactly how I wanted to end up trading super duper zoomed in, looking to scale down in risk and take a real high frequency of trades. I think that's going to work better for some guys, 10 trades a day or 6 trades a day. For me, I was still ending up structuring my trades as if I was trading on the 5-minute, I think a little bit. And yeah. So again, kind of rambling thought there, but that's the full scope. I answer these questions honestly. So I like Dow. I know it's not what everybody trades. It's not what most guys trade. But again, that fits right into that suit of what's best for me, what's best for my strategy and approach. And I'll display that to you guys. That's what we want to see. NQ makes my heart beat fast. ES is a banger, and YM is much more relaxed. Yeah, man. NQ is a monster, right? NQ's fast. It's wiki. Gives you a lot of movement, but it can be difficult to work with. ES is much calmer. I find that, much slower moving. Very similar structures, somewhat similar price action to NQ, right? They're fairly tightly correlated. Not always. You see days where one's going the other way. And then, YM is kind of in its own world as far as correlation-wise to a degree, but the movement's a little bit different. The price action structure is a little bit different. I like the way that it moves. I like the way that it respects certain levels. I understand the wickiness, the coming and sweeping of highs and lows, just because I've watched it for quite a while, and I like the entry style that I can utilize on it. That's really, I think, what I like the most, the entry style and the risk management that I can utilize. If I'm wrong fast, usually, and if I'm right pretty fast, and I'm right big. So, I can find cheap trades. I can find better ways to structure risk. In general, again, hard to quantify and explain that in detail, but I like that about YM. So yeah, guys, hanging out watching this thing chop at VWAP. I really don't have a setup. I know this was about an hour. Not another wonderful winning trade session here, but I just don't see it for me. What could I have done here is what I like to ask myself, right? So we're an hour in. At 1 p.m., we're selling off, finding some support. Am I going to sell right here on this somewhat of a bullish day as we broke to the downside a little bit? No, not yet. That's the only thing that would have paid. A quick sell right from here to VWAP structuring risk above here wouldn't have even given me a 1-to-1. No real opportunity. Am I scalping in between a 5-minute range? Not at all. Not how I trade. So a whole lot of nothing, man. But that's part of it. Like I talked about, can't hop on the charts and will your way, Maybe we find some support here, push to the upside, but I'll probably set an alert or two. Maybe I'll look for a trade later in the afternoon, but probably just going to leave this one for the morning. That's how I see this. So I appreciate you guys hopping on. Again, slow session, not a whole lot playing out. Just slow moving here into the afternoon. Trade safe the rest of the week. We got some news. Talk about that real quick. ForexFactory.com or your financial news site of choice. Unemployment claims tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. We got red folder. Let's look at it together. Right here, red folder, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Orange folder at 9:45. Red folder at 10 a.m. This is going to suck for the morning session. This is going to be tough to trade through. Makes it difficult. And then we got the monster on Friday. We got NFP. Major news event. Be cautious. Or get ready for a past or blown account or a lot of loss or a lot of gain in a live account. A lot of volatility right here. So we'll try to work our way through this. Afternoon might be better than the morning. We'll see. I'll be on here live 12:30 p.m. tomorrow again. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, and be easy, guys.